Welcome back, everyone. President Obama and Vice President Joe Biden laying out their plan to help the middle class.
We're going to keep fighting to rebuild our economy so that hard work is once again rewarded, wages and incomes are once again rising, and the middle class is once again growing.
But what do actual middle-class Americans think of the committee's proposals? Here on our special panel this morning, Spencer Houldin, president of Erickson Insurance Services, Brett McMahon, vice president of Miller and Long Concrete Construction, and Jeff Bliss, independent communications consultant and freelance journalist. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, Greg.
All right, Spencer, let me start with you since you're sitting here in New York. Part of the task force proposals included this. Let's take a look. Help families with soaring child care costs, help families pay for care for elderly relatives, cap payments on federal student loans, and make it easier to save for retirement with making it, I think, mandatory that you'd have to set up retirement accounts. Your take on that as a business owner, was that going to help your employees?
I think giving a little bit of money to the middle class is not going to solve our economic recovery. What we need to do is create jobs. Right now, according to January 8th figures, we have 15.3 million Americans out of work. We're in double-digit unemployment. We need tax incentives for the small businesses so we can grow the economy.
Mr. McMahon, I know one of the things that concerned you when they set up this task force was that you didn't feel that small business owners were represented in this group.
Yeah, you know, I really don't know who they talk to. It seems like they get a bunch of the larger unions, a bunch of other nonprofits, and a couple of professors together, but they don't actually ask anybody who puts money at risk and actually employs people and signs the front of a paycheck. So kind of par for the course for this administration and most government solutions is they don't talk to the people who actually make the difference.
Mr. Bliss, do you agree with that?
I do. I think the fact that they're not reaching out to the people that are in the trenches every day is a serious mistake and could have some longer-term ramifications.
One of the things, Mr. Houldin, that we saw under the Bush administration was they did send out checks to the American people. And a lot of people said, well, that worked, and some people said, well, that didn't work so well. Do you think that that helps when you actually put money in the pockets of the American people?
Well, certainly it helps, but it's not going to bring us back to full economic recovery. I was speaking yesterday to a friend from Michigan who has 16% unemployment in Michigan. The factories are closed down. Giving those 16% of the population $200 or $300 is not going to help them survive. What they need are jobs. They need small businesses coming to their state. They need the businesses that are there to flourish, and we can only get that through tax incentives for small businesses.
Mr. McMahon and Mr. Bliss, I'd like to get your thoughts just real quickly on whether or not you think that we'll hear more stimulus money in the State of the Union speech tomorrow night. Mr. McMahon?
Boy, I hope not. I mean, it's been a waste thus far. My industry, we're at 23% unemployment. That's the kind of the top line number. It's probably much higher than that. It really hasn't solved the problem. It can't really. The simplest thing to do is just be kind of across the board tax cuts. Cut everybody's payroll taxes. Just right off the top.
Mr. Bliss, what do you think? This latest poll shows 3 out of 4 Americans think that most of that money was wasted the first time around. Do you think we're going to hear the president talk about more stimulus bucks?
I do. I don't think you'll hear it listed out in terms or use that label for stimulus, but you'll see a number of programs. There has been some spending freezes suggested, but like these middle-class initiatives, you're going to see more spending put out there for everybody, trying to make people happy.
All right. We thank the panel for joining us bright and early this morning. We'll see what the president says tomorrow night. Thanks so much.